Well, nobody likes wearing a mask, but during this COVID crisis, most of us have to. Well, for years, Sam Acho chose to wear a mask, but not the cloth kind. So what was he hiding? Take a look.
Sam Acho is an NFL player, author, speaker, and humanitarian. Sam believes that it's time to stop hiding behind an emotional mask and instead allow the world to see the real you.
How do you handle emotion? And what are you hiding and what are you keeping from everyone else?
In his book, Let the World See You, Sam shares lessons from his life, helping you overcome your fears and allowing God to use your gifts to help those around you.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Sam Acho. Sam, it's great to have you with us.
So glad to be with you, Wendy.
Well, Sam, you started masking your true self early on. Tell us why.
Yeah, well, I remember being 13 years old at this youth service we went to, and I remember getting made fun of as a little kid for the clothes I was wearing, or I guess the way I dressed. And I remember just feeling a little bit of sense of shame. Like, man, I thought that I don't understand why people were laughing and joking. And I remember they turned around and looked back up at the front of the room. And as they looked up, I got up and I walked over and I went to the 25-yard walk to the restroom stall, and I just sat there and I hid, right? And I felt like it would be a one-time thing, but it seemed like every single week, a 13-year-old kid, I went back to that youth service and I didn't want to be talked about, made fun of. So I would go sit and I would hide. Well, fast forward, now I'm a 31, 32-year-old NFL linebacker, and I would still find myself hiding. I'd find myself not hiding in restroom stalls, but hiding within myself. I wouldn't show people the real me, right? And so I feel like oftentimes we hide our emotions, our fears, our doubt, our shame, our anxiety, but joy, our passions, the things that make us who we are. And my book is essentially what it means. It's about what it means to let the world see you, the real you. Because I feel like when you're you, God gets the glory, the people around you benefit, and the world around you thrives.
Yeah. Tell us what you were hiding and why. I know your parents are both from, tell me again, Nigeria?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, for me, Wendy, it was, people know I'm an outspoken Christian. I'm a follower of Jesus, and you're in this field, right, in the NFL, right? It's the biggest, the baddest, the best, and the most competitive, and I'm highly competitive, highly. That's how I got to where I got to. Passionate as well, but people would see me on the football field, and I would get in a fight with a teammate or get angry or something. And they'd say, "Oh, Sam, well, you're a Christian. Christians aren't supposed to get mad. Was that a curse word I just heard?" And all of a sudden, God made me to be a fiery competitor, a fierce fighter on that ball, and He made me passionate. And so one of the things I would hide would be my anger and my emotion, right? I didn't want people to see me and say, well, that's not what a Christian was supposed to look like, what they could do.
Sam, okay, what was the turning point for you when you allowed people to see the real Sam, and how did that change your life?
Yeah, well, I remember it was a week before training camp in the 2018 season, and I just signed a multi-year contract with the Chicago Bears, and I was going on my fourth year with the team. And I remember on the outside, things looked really good, but on the inside, I was struggling. And I remember sitting with a friend and saying, man, I don't know what's going on with my marriage, my relationship. Get back to the season. Once the season starts, everything will be okay. And he looked at me and he said, Sam, that's how you feel right now. I'm afraid of what happens when football ends, for when you retire. And as he's talking, I'm starting to cry because I'm just thinking of all that's going on. And he looks at me in my tears, snot bubbles and all, and he says, it's nice to see you, Sam. And I'm sitting like, what do you mean? It's nice to see me. He said, all I've seen for the last 10 years I've known you has been this put together, smile, everything, you have it all together. But it's good to see that you are human. And so he actually recommended that I go talk to a counselor. My dad is a therapist as well, a marriage counselor in a counselor's office. And he asked me a question. He said, Sam, what do you do when you get angry? And my response was, well, I just don't get angry. And he said, well, Sam, everybody gets angry.
Right.
So what do you do when you get angry? And after he asked me that question, Wendy, I started to cry again. And he looks at me and he puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, it's nice to see you, Sam. And so the turning point for me was this idea of showing my emotions, whether it's fear, anger, sadness, joy, and people saying, oh, wow, it is really, really, really nice to see you.
Amen. Well, it is indeed nice to see you, and we love your new book. Sam's book is called Let the World See You, and it's available wherever books are sold. Sam Acho, thank you so much for sharing your story. God bless you.
Thank you, Wendy.